Jeff, thank you for being here today, and thank you for all you and the fine folks at the Camden Fire Department do up there. What kind of a year has it been for people at Camden FD?
It's really been pretty good this year. We hadn't had a lot of just real bad fires. We have had to help with a couple. There was 2 or 3 that we helped with that were pretty major fires. Other than that, it's been a lot of lift assists and things of that nature.
How many members strong are the Camden Fire Department right now at the end of 2022?
Including myself, we've got 18, which is a good group.
A lot of experience. When you take the years of experience these 18 volunteer firemen have, that's a lot of experience there.
A whole lot. We've actually, on our department, of course, I'm the chief of ours, we've got 2 other chiefs of other departments that are on my department as well. And so that's a lot of experience right there.
And that really, really is. And of course, a lot of times in case we need mutual aid, that comes in quite handy.
It does. We all, as a community, I think we work really well together. They call, we go, and we don't even have to talk about it. We just get in there and do the job.
That's exactly what it's all about. Max King, the most senior member of the fire department up there now? A lot of years with Max.
I'd say, yeah, he would be, and then Richard Key. And then it goes on down the line.
Right, of course. Now, I know back, I guess it was in late spring, early summer, as time gets away from us, that new apparatus, that new fire truck came in. Yes. And, what a nice piece of equipment it is. I hope we don't ever have to use it and may have already utilized it, but hey, it's good to have, and that's been a long time coming.
Right, yeah, we've used it a couple of times already so far, and it's made the engineer's job a lot easier. They've started making the trucks now to where they do a lot of the things that the engineer had to do before and do on his own. It's a really nice truck.
Yeah, I got that backup camera on it like all new modern vehicles do today.
Yes.
And give me the history, how this came about. I know you started working on it, a couple of years back, as a matter of fact, and it's something you just can't get overnight. You order it today, you're not going to get it the next day.
Right. We had to go around and get surveys filled out to get the kind of the what people make and all, and a lot of people don't like doing that, but I mean that's as far as it goes. I mean the people that give us the grant, the government or whoever's giving the grant, they look at it to see the need of the community. And if you've got, people that you're serving that don't make a whole lot of money and are not able to give, and you're not able to raise taxes and this and that, it definitely helps us get the grant. A lot of people didn't think we would get it, but we did. And, the fine people that wrote the grant done a great job. And I really appreciate all my guys that got out and got these surveys filled out.
Well, as we look ahead now, and of course, a couple of years back, as a matter of fact, 2, maybe 3 years ago now, as we go forward into 2023, got that new truck, that new great big ladder truck, I guess it was, that utilized. Yeah, that's right, yeah. Utilized by both Eva and Camden, as a matter of fact. And it's housed up here, isn't it? Housed at Camden?
Yes, it's housed in Camden as well. David I've got to give him credit there. He's the one that went after that truck. That was one of my ideas was to get one of those. He made it easy for me. He found it, and it was in Pennsylvania, and he asked me to go along with him and look at the truck and all. We got up there and bought it, and Eva actually bought it, and then Camden paid them for half of it. And so we're co-owners in the truck, and he asked if we could house it at our station. That way it's centrally located, and everybody can use it.
That's right, and we enjoy seeing it up at special events like we have Halloween on the Square, of course, the 911 tribute that we do each year around 9/11, and just a great piece of equipment. And we're talking about Chief David Tucker down at Eva volunteer fire department, and I know that you and David and some more are also members of the Benton County Rescue Squad as well. So do the organizations, do the fire departments and the rescue squad, do you ever maybe get together for joint training or joint missions?
Yeah, yeah, we do. I mean, not just a whole lot, but we occasionally do, especially like first aid and CPR and stuff like that. We try to, keep abreast of all that, and it's just it's amazing how this county comes together with its emergency services. I mean, we all work real well together.
Outstanding individuals. Dwayne Presson down at the rescue squad, all the personnel down there, we appreciate what they do. We appreciate all the emergency services. And, it just seems like, when there is an emergency where more than one agency has to be on the scene, you've worked so well together with the other groups. Everybody knows their jobs and responsibilities.
They do, and it helps our departments, I think, being integrated a little bit to where, like you were saying, that some of the fire department members are on the rescue squads, or some of the rescue squad members are on even other fire departments, and this and that. It just it helps because when you get there. I mean, if the car's on fire, you can't really extricate till you get the fire out. So you get the fire out, and then you go to getting the people out. So you know what to do once you get there.
Well, I wanted you to come in and talk about the fire department, of course, and here we are, winter, cold out there. Winter weather, it may even get worse toward the end of next week as we get closer to the Christmas holidays next weekend. I understand there is a chance of snow in that forecast. We're just going to have to wait and see about that. But a lot of people right now, Jeff, they're using, heat forms or wood stoves, chimneys, whatever, electrical heat. What's some good safety tips you can pass along, regardless of the type of heat you're using to keep warm?
Well, especially with wood heat, definitely make sure your chimney's clean, and maybe you hadn't got any cracks in your blocks and stuff like that. I don't think we have as many people now that use wood heat as they used to. Years ago, it seemed like back several years ago, we would get, 5 or 6 calls a year. Most of the time, you can put the chimneys out with a pan of water. It doesn't take a whole lot, but I have seen cracks in blocks and this and that let the heat get something else hot, and it wasn't going just up the chimney. So, I mean, that's one of the main things right there. And the Christmas trees, of course, if you get a live tree, not as many people do that now, but if you do, make sure and keep it watered so that way it don't get dry. And the lights have gotten better now. Most of them are LED lights, and they don't get as hot, and that's fantastic. They don't use as much electricity and all that good stuff. So as long as they, keep things watered like that and keep their chimneys checked and all, most of the time I think we'll be all right.
I would have thought, right now, keeping the chimney in check, keeping it clean, of course, which is a priority. I would imagine if people are doing that, they should have done it weeks ago, shouldn't they? Before now,
they really should. Yeah, I would have hate to wait till now to do it, because you're going to have it down for a little while it's getting clean. So maybe everybody got ahead of that before the cold weather hit.
Now, a lot of folks in recent years, they have used what I call these little square infrared type heaters.
Yeah.
Of course, then I've got a couple at my house, and they put out a lot of good heat, for a small room, and I appreciate mine, of course. But at the same time, they tell me these type of little heating devices, you don't want to plug them into a strip. Is that right?
No.
Tell me about that.
No, the strip plugs that you get have a very thin piece of wire run around, and they just are not good to handle that kind of electricity. It just won't handle it. I mean, it may come on for a little while and work, but eventually they will burn out, and they can catch your house on fire. We still have a little bit of problems, not as much now as it used to be. People with wall heaters, they tend to set stuff in front of them, and that's definitely not a good idea. If it's putting out heat, you don't want clothes and books and shelves and stuff like that in front of them.
With the wall heater, if people are still using wall heaters in their homes built years ago, then what's a good safety distance from an item, a desk or whatever? What's a good safety
It
distance
would be
from the wall
good
heater?
to at least have 3 or 4 feet. I mean, I would want at least that much. And make sure and keep your breaker boxes, and a lot of the older houses around here still actually have the fuses in them like they used to. Make sure and keep that to where, if something does happen, you can get to them and where we can get to them. I've even been in businesses before, and they've got stuff stacked up in front of their switch boxes, and that's a no-no. I mean, we've got to be able to get to those things.
Yeah. Well, the strips plugs, and we have some up here at the radio station, the strips, they have 4 or 5, little outlets that you can plug more devices in. But at the same time, you can use too many of those. I mean, if you have 2 strips, and 2 outlets to your wall plug over there, and, you have them all filled to capacity, that could be a little danger.
It certainly can. Now, like I said, some of the things has gotten a little better, things like some lights and stuff that don't pull as much juice as they used to. But still, if you start making what we call an octopus, it just, you've got plugs coming out of all your receptacles and stuff, and it's not a good thing.
Yeah. Well, of course, you've been up to some events up at the Benton County Courthouse, and I have too, and a lot of good events up there. And some of the vendors have to use the plugs on the outside of the courthouse. But from time to time, and not just up there, but at other places, we'll see what I call overload, and all the lights will go out, so you have to watch about overloads.
Yeah. You don't want to do that. You might have a bad Christmas. All your tree lights and your stove mainly goes out, and you won't be able to do anything. But yeah, just make sure that you kind of keep everything. I mean, you can occasionally get the strip plugs, which they've got a little thing on them that'll kick out if it's overloaded most of the time. But you just need to be real careful about overloading those receptacles.
Yeah, well, of course, here at winter, this is the time we're talking about these sort of things. But, when we get into spring and summertime, you've got to be careful there as far as using overloads on plugs and things like that, because, fire can certainly start in those type of weather situations too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you start using your air conditioners, and they haven't been serviced yet, and I mean, anything could happen.
And I guess another, as we discussed this, lint around your dryers, clothes dryers, things like that.
Yeah, that's a bad thing, and people are real bad about not cleaning those out. I mean, occasionally I have been, subject not to do that as much as I ought to. It's a hard thing to remember, but yeah, you definitely need to clean your dryer vents and all out.
Absolutely. And what I learned a couple of weeks ago as well, when I was warming up something in the microwave, nice plate, I thought microwavable, accessible, I thought it was going to be fine, but I wasn't paying any attention. That little gold ring on the outside of that little paper plate right there, and I could have been disastrous at my place.
A lot of people have made that mistake before, or be stirring their food and leave their spoon in it and put it back in there and turn it on. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Any kind of metal, I wouldn't have thought when I first, started using microwaves about the little gold ring. I mean, but it's metal.
Well, I saw it out there, and I really thought it was imprinted. I thought it was imprinted into the whole overall plate, like some things are. But I found out it wasn't. A little strip, just like a little ribbon, a little gold ribbon around. I thought, whoa! I smelled something like, whoa!
It'll definitely spark, and you can just overheat stuff in there. I mean, like the bags of popcorn and this and that. If you just turn it on, I mean, they can overheat and catch on fire.
They do. Yeah, absolutely. Well, as we look ahead into the new year, 2023, we've reflected back on 2022 and the things that we have done to improve things within the Camden Fire Department. As we look ahead, what are you projecting for the new year? And, as we go forward, what would you like to see the fire department add?
Well, of course, I've got big ideas of, all the surrounding counties have got full-time fire departments. I would eventually, I don't think it'll probably happen in 23, but, eventually I'm hoping that they'll put a few members on full-time. I'm hoping to maybe get a grant eventually for a new fire department. And I've got my own a couple of places maybe to to put that. The building we're in now is a little bit antiquated, so we need to start looking forward to that. The equipment's getting bigger. We're having to special order trucks. The new fire truck that we got, we had to special order it. That way it's a little shorter, just where it fit in the building. But I mean, at this moment, we've got some good equipment. We just need a good place to put it. So that's one of my big things. With the budget we have, you're constantly fighting, buying. You were talking about earlier how they used to tell us how to go places and this and that. I remember before I got on, when I was a kid and my dad was on it, all they had was the siren on the water tanks, and they didn't know where they were going until they either got a phone call or until they got to the fire station, where they were going. But now we've got pagers and radios and things of that nature, and of course these guys carry them 24/7. They have them on them all the time. They get broke, they get wore out, batteries run down, and all that stuff's fairly expensive. So we have to continually replace all that. The fuel's getting higher for the trucks, so I mean it's just always something. It's kind of a hard thing to keep up with.
Was it a gimme, Jeff, as you were growing up? Jerry Pierce served as our fire chief for a long, long time, and of course before him Tom Bordenero, and Jerry, a longtime fire member as you are now. But as you were growing up, was it just a gimme that you were going to be a volunteer fireman too?
Well, I always hoped. Of course, I didn't get on it till I'd gotten out of school and all that. But I'd always hoped. I wasn't sure it would happen. And then, of course, my dad as well, he was one of the founding members of the rescue squad. And I'm a member of that now, and I'm the first lieutenant on the rescue squad. And that's as far as I'm going.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm sure Jerry taught you. It ain't going to be easy, and you ain't going to get special treatment from me. If I tell you something, you ain't getting special treatment from me.
That's it. And he didn't. I mean, when he was the chief over the department, I mean, he expected me to do as much, if not more, than anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Is the fire department and the Benton County Rescue Squad at this particular point in time, are you looking for new members?
Oh, we're always looking. Of course, the fire department is a hired job, and we can only have so many. So we don't take actually volunteers for that. But the rescue squad, we're always looking for people. This year we have actually had several people join that, more than normal. But yeah, we're always looking for people to fill the spots and learn, and because some of the people that are on it now are getting a little older and getting a little harder to move, and so we need some younger blood in there to kind of train and help take over one of these days.
Yeah, and I know, talking about the rescue squad, I think just recently, within the last few weeks, lost one of the charter members, Mr. Jerry Ferris, I believe, passed away. And I had some great conversations with Jerry down through the years. And, the founding members from organizations like that, they've turned it over, but there'll still be a great part. But, things are changing. We appreciate their vision back in those days.
Yeah. Jerry was actually a member of the fire department for a while as well. So, yeah, we appreciate everybody that we've ever had.
Jeff, thank you for coming in this morning. Thank you for sharing some of the time with Santa and Mrs. Claus. I really appreciate it. I want to thank you and everybody at the Camden Fire Department, Benton County Rescue Squad, all emergency services. We appreciate the things that you do for our community to help keep us safe. And do you have a closing word today for our radio audience and Facebook people?
Well, I just hope that everybody stays safe, and hope that we don't have to get out on Christmas or Christmas Eve like we have had to in the past. But if we do, we'll be there just like any other time. And if you need anything, just give us a call.
Well, thank you again for taking time from your busy Saturday morning to be with us today. And again, Merry Christmas to you and everybody. And if we can ever help you in any way, you know where we're at, my friend. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Jeff Pierce with us, ladies and gentlemen, the fire chief for the town of Camden, city of Camden. We appreciate all the folks at the Camden Fire Department and all emergency responders, as I said. Well, that's our program this morning on Operation 7570 today. Thanks to Jeff, Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus, for being with us on the first half of the program. And with next week being Christmas Eve, I think we're just going to take a next week off and come back on New Year's Eve and 2 Saturdays and have another very special guest for you as we close out 2022 and get ready for 2023. Well, ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of the day. We'll see you next, or in 2 weeks, I should say, 2 weeks from today. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.
For more than 85 years, Apex Bank of Camden has built a tradition of local people serving local people.